in the tree of spirit. And so organs are part of spiritual body, naturally, part of tree of spirit. So all cells, trillions of cells, is part of the spirit, tree of spirit that lives. Earth force go up, heaven's force come down. Energy center, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Between those chakras, those energy centers, energy moves downward and upward, alternatively.
What if you've been using your body backwards your entire life? Not wrong, but backwards. We're taught energy flows from outside in. That food gives you energy, and sleep recharges you. But a Japanese scientist named Michio Kushi discovered something that got him quietly erased from mainstream science. He claims your body doesn't only receive energy, but it generates it through two invisible currents colliding inside you right now. One dropping down from your skull, and one rising up from your tailbone and the 7 points where they crash. That's your chakra center, and those control your thoughts, emotions, and the electromagnetic frequency you're broadcasting every second. When Kushi started teaching regular people to rebalance these currents themselves, his academic positions disappeared. His research got buried. Because once you understand your chakras are organs regulating two opposing forces, you stop needing external systems. You become ungovernable. And your spine isn't just bones. It's the battlefield where two cosmic forces meet. Heaven force descends from your crown, organizing, contracting, bringing mental clarity. Earth force ascends from your root, expanding, vitalizing, bringing emotional aliveness. Where they collide at 7 junction points, they create your entire experience of reality. When they meet cleanly, you have access to your full self. When they don't, you lose entire dimensions of consciousness. And here's what Kushi proved that got him in trouble. This isn't mysticism. Your vagus nerve maps exactly onto the chakra system. Your endocrine glands sit at each junction point. These are biological structures responding to energy currents. Right now, as you're listening to this, 2 invisible forces are moving through your body. One is pulling energy down from above, through the top of your head, into your brain, down your spine. The other is pushing energy up from below, rising through your legs, through your gut, meeting the downward current somewhere in the middle. You can't see them, but they're creating the field that holds your thoughts, your emotions, your personality, even your sense of who you are. Ancient cultures called them heaven and earth. Modern physics calls them polarity. But a Japanese scientist named Michio Kushi called them what they actually are: the 2 rivers that feed your spiritual body. And here's what almost no one understands. When these rivers get blocked, you don't just feel tired or stuck. You literally lose access to entire dimensions of yourself. Today, you're going to learn how to clear those blockages. Not through belief, through understanding how energy actually works. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Another video about chakras, another spiritual teaching that sounds nice but doesn't actually change anything. And I get it, because most of what you've been told about chakras is incomplete at best and completely misleading at worst. You've been taught to visualize colored wheels spinning in your body. You've been told to meditate on them, activate them, balance them through affirmations and crystals and sound bowls. And maybe some of that helped a little. Maybe you felt something shift for a moment. But then you went back to your life and nothing really changed. You still felt stuck, still felt disconnected, still felt like there was some invisible barrier between where you are and where you're trying to go. That's because you were working with a model that treats chakras like light switches, like things you turn on and off. But that's not what they are. And Michio Kushi spent 40 years proving it. He showed the chakras aren't mystical symbols. They're actual energetic organs, junction points where two measurable forces collide and create coherence in your nervous system, your endocrine system, your entire electromagnetic field. He showed that your physical organs, your heart, your lungs, your gut, are just branches fed by these energetic roots. That your cells are leaves drinking from an invisible tree of spirit running through your spine. And that when you understand how this tree works, you stop trying to fix your life from the outside and you start reorganizing it from the inside, at the level of frequency, resonance, and field dynamics. This isn't spirituality. This is physics. This is biology. This is the missing piece that explains why you can do everything right. Eat healthy, exercise, meditate, say your affirmations, visualize your goals, and still feel like you're pushing a boulder uphill. Because if your energy body is collapsed, if heaven and earth aren't meeting cleanly inside you, none of that other stuff can land. You're trying to build a house on a foundation that's cracked. And no matter how beautiful the house is, it's going to keep falling apart. So here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to walk you through exactly what Kushi discovered, how your energy body actually works, what happens when heaven force and earth force meet at your 7 chakras, why most people are living with a collapsed energy system and don't even know it, and most importantly, how to restore coherence, not through belief or faith or positive thinking, but through understanding the actual mechanics of how consciousness organizes matter through your spiritual body. This is information that was quietly removed from mainstream science in the early 1980s. Kushi's work on energy anatomy was scrubbed from academic circulation. His books were pulled from university reading lists. Conferences stopped inviting him to speak on this topic. And today, if you search for his name, you'll find his work on diet and health, but almost nothing about what I'm going to share with you. Not because it was wrong, but because it was too right, too empowering, too dangerous to systems that profit from keeping you disconnected from your own energy body. And I need you to understand something before we go any deeper. This video isn't here to sell you on a belief system. I'm not asking you to believe in chakras. I'm asking you to understand how energy moves through your body and why that movement, or lack of it, determines everything about your experience of reality. Your mental clarity, your emotional range, your physical vitality, your capacity to create, to connect, to love, to act. All of it depends on whether 2 invisible rivers inside you are flowing freely or blocked. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to tell the difference and what to do about it. So let's start at the beginning. Let's start with the foundation that most spiritual teachers skip over because it sounds too scientific or too complicated. But it's not complicated. It's actually the simplest, most elegant explanation of how you work that I've ever encountered. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You'll start recognizing it everywhere, in your body, in your emotions, in the way reality responds to you. Because this isn't theory. This is the operating system running beneath everything you experience. Imagine your body as a tree. Not the tree you see with your eyes, but an invisible tree made entirely of energy. The roots of this tree go deep into the earth beneath you, pulling up a force, raw, primal, rising. Ancient systems called it earth energy, prana, chi, the serpent force. It moves up through your legs, through your pelvis, into your belly, your chest, your throat. At the same time, there's another force entering from above, pouring down through the top of your head like rain. This is heaven energy, descending, organizing, refining. It moves down through your brain, your spine, into the core of your body. Now, here's what Michio Kushi discovered. The 7 places where these 2 forces meet, where upward and downward collide, are your chakras. They're not mystical. They're junction points. Think of them like locks in a canal system, where 2 rivers with different currents have to merge. When they merge cleanly, coherently, water flows, energy flows, your nervous system syncs. Your cells receive clear instructions. Your field becomes coherent. But when they don't merge, when one force overpowers the other, or when the junction gets clogged, the whole system backs up. And that's when you feel it. Brain fog, anxiety, creative block, emotional numbness, a sense that no matter what you do, you can't get traction. You're spinning your wheels, working harder and harder, but getting nowhere. And here's what most people don't realize, that feeling isn't a personality trait. It's not who you are. It's what happens when your energy circulation is broken, when heaven and earth stop talking to each other inside your system. Kushi spent decades showing that your organs, your heart, your lungs, your gut, your reproductive system, are like branches and leaves growing from this invisible tree. They don't generate energy. They receive it from the chakras, which means if the roots are blocked, if the trunk is twisted, if the junction points are out of balance, the whole tree suffers. You can water the leaves all you want. You can prune the branches, but until you address the root system, nothing changes. You keep treating symptoms while the underlying cause remains untouched. And this is why so many people feel stuck. They're working on the wrong level. They're trying to change their thoughts when the problem is in their field. They're trying to force new behaviors when their energy body doesn't have the coherence to sustain those behaviors. They're pushing and striving and grinding, wondering why it's so hard, not realizing that they're trying to run a high-performance engine on a collapsed fuel system. So let me show you what this actually looks like. Let me take you into the mechanics so you can see how this plays out in your actual lived experience. Because once you understand this, everything starts making sense. All those moments when you felt off but couldn't explain why. All those times when you knew something was wrong but you couldn't put your finger on it. All those patterns you've been trying to break but they keep coming back no matter what you do. It all comes down to this. Your energy body is out of alignment, and your energy body is the foundation everything else is built on. There's an old teaching story Kushi used to tell, though he framed it through science rather than folklore. Imagine two rivers. One flows down from the mountains, cold, clear, fast-moving, carrying minerals and structure. The other flows up from the valley, warm, rich, thick with nutrients and organic life. These two rivers are opposites. One is yang, contracting, condensing, organizing. The other is yin, expanding, softening, nourishing. On their own, each river is incomplete. The mountain river is too sharp, too rigid. It carves through rock, but can't sustain life. The valley river is too diffuse, too chaotic. It nourishes, but has no direction. But when they meet, when they merge in the middle, something miraculous happens. They create a delta, fertile ground, a place where structure and flow, order and creativity, discipline and surrender come together to form something neither could create alone. Your body is that delta. The 7 chakras are the places where the mountain river, heaven force, descending energy, yang, and the valley river, earth force, ascending energy, yin, come together inside you. And here's what almost no one teaches. These rivers are always flowing, even right now. Even if you can't feel them, the question isn't whether they exist. The question is, are they meeting cleanly, or are they crashing into each other, creating turbulence, backing up, flooding your system with too much of one and not enough of the other? When your root chakra is balanced, heaven and earth meet at the base of your spine and you feel grounded, safe, present in your body. You can take action. You can make decisions. You trust yourself to move through the world. But when your root is out of balance, when too much heaven force dominates and you're stuck in your head, or when too much earth force dominates and you're overwhelmed by survival instinct, you lose that groundedness. You feel anxious, scattered, like you can't land anywhere, like you're floating through life without an anchor. When your heart chakra is balanced, heaven and earth meet in your chest, and you feel connected, open, able to give and receive love without losing yourself. You can hold space for other people's pain without taking it on. You can be vulnerable without collapsing. You can love without needing anything in return. But when your heart is out of balance, when one river dominates, you either shut down completely, building walls around your heart to protect yourself, or you become so porous that everyone else's emotions flood into you and you lose track of where you end and they begin. This is what Kushi was trying to show people, that chakras aren't abstract spiritual concepts. They're the actual mechanism by which your consciousness becomes your biology, the bridge between what you feel and what your cells do, between what you imagine and what your nervous system creates, between the invisible world of energy and the visible world of form. And when these junction points fall out of balance, you don't just feel off. You lose the ability to translate your inner world into outer reality. You have all these dreams, all these visions, all these ideas about who you want to be and what you want to create, but you can't bring them through. It's like you're speaking a language, and reality isn't hearing you. You're broadcasting a signal, but nothing's receiving it. And that's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because your energy body, the transmitter, is out of coherence. Now, before I go any further, I want to address something that might be coming up for you. You might be thinking, this sounds too simple. If it was really this straightforward, wouldn't everyone know about it? Wouldn't doctors be teaching it? Wouldn't it be in textbooks? And that's a fair question. But here's the thing. Just because something isn't widely known doesn't mean it isn't true. In fact, some of the most powerful truths are the ones that get suppressed precisely because they're so empowering. Michio Kushi wasn't a mystic. He was trained in political science and international law at Columbia University. He studied physics, biology, Eastern medicine. He spent decades researching the connection between diet, energy, and consciousness. But his most controversial work had nothing to do with food. It had to do with what he called the invisible constitution of man, the energy body that modern science refuses to acknowledge because it can't be cut open and measured with a scalpel. In the early 1980s, Kushi began teaching a framework that synthesized ancient Eastern medicine with quantum physics and biofield science. He explained that the human body isn't just a biochemical machine. It's an electromagnetic organism. And the chakras, these 7 junction points along the spine, are where your body's 2 primary energy currents meet and create coherence. He drew diagrams. He showed how the vagus nerve, the endocrine system, the autonomic nervous system all map directly onto the chakra system. He explained that emotions aren't random. They're the felt experience of energy moving or not moving through these junction points. He taught that disease doesn't start in the body. It starts in the field, when heaven and earth stop meeting cleanly, when one force dominates, when the energy body collapses. Your physical symptoms are just the final stage of a process that began much earlier at the energetic level. And if you only treat the symptoms, if you only work with the physical body, you're missing the root cause. You're trying to fix the branches while ignoring the dying roots. And then something happened. His work on chakras and energy anatomy was quietly removed from academic circulation. His books were taken off university reading lists. Conferences stopped inviting him to speak on this topic. Today, if you search for Michio Kushi chakras, you'll find almost nothing. You'll find his work on diet, on macrobiotics, on holistic health. But the framework I'm sharing with you right now, the one that explains how consciousness organizes biology through energetic polarity. It's been scrubbed, not because it was wrong, but because it was too right, too empowering, too dangerous to systems that profit from keeping you disconnected from your own energy body. Because when you understand how your spiritual body works, when you learn to balance heaven and earth inside yourself, when you bring your chakras back into coherence, You stop looking outside yourself for answers. You stop being dependent on experts, authorities, systems that claim to have the solutions you need. You become self-regulating, self-organizing, sovereign, and that's a threat. So they buried it. Not dramatically, not with a conspiracy, just quietly, slowly, until most people forgot it was ever there. But the information didn't disappear. It's still here. It's still true. And it's still the most powerful framework I've ever encountered for understanding how to work with your own consciousness, your own energy, your own capacity to create the life you actually want to live. Now let me take you deeper. Because understanding that chakras are junction points where heaven and earth meet is just the beginning. The real question is, how does this system actually work? What are these two forces? Where do they come from? And why does it matter if they're balanced or not? Everything in the universe exists because of polarity, positive and negative, expansion and contraction, yang and yin. You can't have one without the other. A magnet doesn't work with just a north pole. Electricity doesn't flow without positive and negative charge. Your heart doesn't beat without contraction and relaxation. And your energy body doesn't function without two opposing forces, heaven force and earth force. Heaven force is descending energy. It enters through the crown of your head and moves downward through your body. It's contracting, organizing, structuring. It carries information, order, mental clarity. In physics, we'd call it centripetal force, moving toward the center. In Eastern medicine, it's yang energy. This is the force that gives you focus, discipline, the ability to plan and organize and execute. It's what allows you to think clearly, to hold vision, to stay on track. It's the force of consciousness descending into matter, bringing structure and meaning to the chaos of raw life force. But here's the catch. Too much heaven force and you become rigid, controlling, stuck in your head, disconnected from your body and emotions. You lose spontaneity, you lose joy, you lose the ability to feel, to flow, to adapt. You become so focused on the plan that you can't respond to what's actually happening. You're trying to force reality to match your vision instead of dancing with what is. Earth force is ascending energy. It rises up through your legs and pelvis, moving from the base of your spine upward. It's expanding, nourishing, vitalizing. It carries instinct, emotion, creative life force. In physics, this is centrifugal force, moving outward. In Eastern medicine, it's yin energy. This is the force that gives you vitality, passion, intuition, the ability to feel deeply and respond authentically. It's what allows you to be present in your body, to trust your instincts, to move with the flow of life instead of trying to control it. It's the force of matter rising into consciousness, bringing aliveness and feeling to the structures of mind. But here's the catch. Too much earth force and you become scattered, reactive, overwhelmed by instinct and feeling, unable to hold structure or vision. You lose clarity, you lose direction, you lose the ability to think, to plan, to follow through. You're so caught up in what you're feeling in the moment that you can't hold on to anything larger. You're drowning in sensation, emotion, impulse, without any anchor to bring you back to center. Your chakras, the 7 junction points along your spine, are where these forces meet and balance each other. When they meet cleanly, you have coherence, clarity and intuition working together, structure and flow, discipline and creativity. You can think and feel at the same time. You can plan and adapt. You can hold vision and respond to the moment. You have access to your whole self. But when one force dominates, or when the meeting point is blocked, you lose access to one side of yourself. And that's when everything starts to break down. You feel split, fragmented. Like part of you wants one thing, and another part wants something else, and they're at war with each other. And you are. Because heaven and earth aren't working together anymore. They're fighting for dominance inside your system. Now here's what Kushi wanted people to understand. Chakras aren't symbols. They're not imaginary light wheels you visualize during meditation. They're actual energetic structures, junction points in your body's energy circulation system where heaven force and earth force collide, merge, and create a specific frequency. Think of your chakras like organs, but instead of processing blood or oxygen, they process energy. Your liver filters toxins from your blood. Your lungs exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide. Your chakras regulate the flow of life force, chi, prana, ki, through your energy body. And just like your physical organs, each chakra has a specific function, a specific character, a specific vibrational quality. Your root chakra at the base of your spine is where earth force enters your system most strongly. It governs survival, safety, grounding, your connection to physical reality. When it's balanced, you feel stable, present, rooted in your body. You can take action, you can make decisions, you trust yourself to move through the world. You're not constantly second-guessing or freezing up or waiting for permission. You just act. But when your root is blocked or overactive, everything changes. If it's blocked, if heaven force is dominating and pulling all your energy up into your head, you feel anxious, ungrounded, like you're floating. You can't make decisions, you can't take action. You're paralyzed by overthinking, overanalyzing, imagining all the ways things could go wrong. You're disconnected from your body, from your instincts, from the primal knowing that tells you it's safe to move forward. Or if your root is overactive, if earth force is dominating and you're flooded with survival instinct, you feel stuck, rigid, obsessed with safety and security to the point where you can't take any risks. You can't grow. You can't change. You're so focused on protecting what you have that you can't reach for what you want. You're trapped in the basement of your consciousness, unable to rise. Your sacral chakra, just below your navel, governs emotion, creativity, pleasure, your capacity to feel alive. When it's balanced, you feel connected to your emotions without being overwhelmed by them. You can create freely. You can experience pleasure without guilt. You can be intimate without losing yourself. You have access to the raw creative force that wants to flow through you and express itself in the world. But when your sacral is blocked, you feel numb, shut down, cut off from your own aliveness. You go through life on autopilot, not really feeling anything, not really enjoying anything. You're disconnected from the creative impulse, from the erotic energy that makes life worth living. And you wonder why everything feels so flat, so gray, so meaningless. It's because earth force can't reach this junction point. It's dammed up below, unable to rise. Or if your sacral is overactive, you're flooded with emotion and impulse. You can't regulate. You swing wildly between highs and lows. You're driven by pleasure-seeking, always chasing the next hit of sensation, never satisfied, never at peace. You've lost the heaven force that would bring structure and containment to all that raw feeling. Your solar plexus, just above your navel, governs willpower, personal power, identity, your sense of self. When it's balanced, you feel confident, directed, capable of taking action and following through. You know who you are. You trust your decisions. You're not constantly seeking validation or permission from outside yourself. You have inner authority. But when your solar plexus is blocked, you feel powerless. Like life is happening to you rather than through you. You can't assert yourself. You can't stand up for what you believe in. You shrink, defer, accommodate, always putting other people's needs before your own, until you lose track of what you even want. You're disconnected from your own will, from the fire that's supposed to fuel your action in the world. Or if your solar plexus is overactive, You become controlling, dominating, always trying to force your will onto others and onto reality itself. You can't surrender. You can't trust. You're exhausting yourself, trying to micromanage every detail because deep down, you don't believe things will work out unless you're in total control. You've lost the earth force that would soften you, humble you, remind you that you're part of something larger. Your heart chakra in the center of your chest is the meeting point where heaven and earth are most balanced. It governs love, compassion, connection, your ability to give and receive without losing yourself. When it's open, you feel connected to life, to other people, to your own heart. You can be vulnerable without collapsing. You can love without needing. You can hold space for pain without taking it on. You experience the deepest truth of your existence, that you are connected to everything and everyone, not through belief, but through direct feeling. But when your heart is closed, you feel isolated, defended, unable to trust. You've built walls around your heart to protect yourself from being hurt again, but those walls are also keeping out the love, the connection, the intimacy you actually crave. You're alone inside your own fortress, watching life happen outside, unable to participate fully. And every relationship feels effortful, transactional, conditional, because you can't access the open-hearted generosity that makes real connection possible. Or if your heart is too open, too porous, you lose your boundaries. Everyone else's emotions flood into you. You take on their pain, their anxiety, their problems, until you're so overwhelmed you can't function. You're trying to save everyone, fix everyone, heal everyone, and in the process you're abandoning yourself. You've lost the heaven force that would give you discernment, that would help you know where you end and others begin. Your throat chakra governs expression, communication, truth, your ability to bring your inner world into outer form. When it's balanced, you can speak your truth clearly and authentically. You can ask for what you need. You can say no when you mean no. You're not performing or pretending or hiding behind a mask. You're just real. And that realness creates trust, connection, resonance with others. But when your throat is blocked, you swallow your truth. You hide who you are. You say yes when you mean no. You perform the version of yourself you think others want to see. And in the process, you lose track of who you actually are. Your voice gets smaller and smaller until you feel like you've disappeared entirely. And the irony is, you think you're doing this to keep people close, but it's actually pushing them away because they can sense you're not being real. Your third eye, between your eyebrows, governs intuition, insight, vision, the ability to see beyond surface reality into the patterns and meanings beneath. When it's balanced, you perceive clearly. You see connections others miss. You know things without knowing how you know them. You trust your inner vision. You're not just reacting to what's right in front of you. You're sensing the deeper currents, the invisible forces shaping your experience. But when your third eye is blocked, you're lost in appearances. You take everything at face value. You can't see beneath the surface. You're constantly confused, uncertain, unable to make sense of what's happening around you. You've lost access to the inner knowing that would guide you through the complexity of life. Your crown chakra, at the top of your head, is where heaven force enters most strongly. It governs consciousness itself, awareness beyond identity, your connection to something larger than your individual self. When it's open, you experience presence, clarity, a sense of unity with all of life. You're not just a separate self struggling through existence. Your awareness itself, temporarily taking form, experiencing itself through this particular body, this particular life. But when your crown is blocked, you feel trapped in the limited self, cut off from meaning, from purpose, from any sense that life is more than just survival and getting through the day. You're stuck in your own head, in your own story, unable to step back and see the bigger picture. And everything feels heavy, dense, like you're carrying a weight you can't put down. This is the map. These are the 7 junction points where heaven and earth meet inside you. And Kushi taught that most people live with only 2 or 3 chakras functioning at any given time. The rest are dormant, blocked, or so imbalanced they create more dysfunction than function. Which means you're only accessing a fraction of your consciousness, a fraction of your capacity, a fraction of who you actually are. And the tragedy is, you don't know what you're missing, because you can't miss what you've never experienced. You think the narrow bandwidth you're operating on is just how life is. You think the fog, the numbness, the disconnection, the struggle, you think that's normal, but it's not. It's what happens when your energy body collapses, when heaven and earth stop meeting cleanly, when the circulation of life force through your system breaks down. And here's the thing that most spiritual teachings don't tell you. Your chakras aren't just governing your inner experience. They're governing your electromagnetic field. Your field is the invisible bubble of energy that surrounds your body and extends outward into space. And that field is what interacts with the quantum field, the invisible substrate of reality that responds to frequency, to resonance, to coherence. When your energy body is balanced, when heaven and earth are flowing freely through your chakras, your field is coherent. It's organized, it's strong, it broadcasts a clear signal. And the quantum field responds to that signal by organizing reality around you in a way that matches your frequency. This is how manifestation actually works. Not through wishful thinking or visualization or affirmations, but through field coherence. When your field is coherent, reality reorganizes itself to match. Not because you're controlling it, but because coherent fields naturally attract coherent experiences. But when your energy body is collapsed, when your chakras are blocked or imbalanced, your field becomes incoherent, scattered, weak, fragmented. You're broadcasting a garbled signal, and the quantum field doesn't know what to do with it. So it gives you mixed results, inconsistent results, or no results at all. And you wonder why manifestation doesn't work for you, why the law of attraction feels like a lie, why you can visualize and affirm and believe all you want, but nothing changes. It's not because those principles are wrong. It's because you're trying to work with them from a collapsed energetic foundation. You're trying to broadcast a clear signal through a broken transmitter. And until you fix the transmitter, until you restore coherence to your energy body, nothing you do on the mental level is going to create lasting change. This is what Kushi understood that almost no one else was teaching. He saw that consciousness isn't separate from biology. It's not some ghost in the machine, some immaterial soul floating above your body. Consciousness is the field, and the field is organized by the flow of heaven and earth force through your chakras. When that flow is balanced, your consciousness is clear, coherent, powerful. When that flow is blocked, your consciousness becomes fragmented, confused, weak. And the implications of this are massive. It means you're not broken, you're not damaged, you're not inherently flawed or lacking or insufficient. You're just out of tune. Your energy body, the instrument through which consciousness expresses itself, has fallen out of alignment. And tuning it back into alignment isn't about fixing what's wrong with you. It's about removing the interference that's preventing you from functioning the way you were designed to function. Think about it like this. Imagine you're a radio. Your job is to receive signals from the airwaves and translate them into sound. But if your antenna is bent, if your circuitry is corroded, if your tuning dial is stuck, you can't do your job. The signals are there, the music is there, but you can't receive it clearly. You get static, distortion, fragments of songs mixed together into noise. And someone listening might think the radio is broken, but it's not broken. It just needs to be cleaned, adjusted, brought back into proper alignment. And once it is, the music comes through perfectly. You're the radio. Your energy body is the circuitry, the chakras are the tuning mechanisms, and the signal, the music, is always there. Consciousness, life force, creative intelligence, it's always flowing, always available. But if your chakras are blocked, if heaven and earth aren't meeting cleanly, you can't receive the signal. You get static, confusion, the sense that something's missing, but you can't figure out what. And here's where most people make the mistake. They try to fix the static by working on the output. They try to change their thoughts, their beliefs, their behaviors. They work on mindset, on discipline, on willpower. And that's like trying to improve the sound of a broken radio by turning up the volume. It doesn't fix the problem. It just makes the distortion louder. What you need to do is go to the source. You need to clean the circuitry, straighten the antenna, adjust the tuning mechanisms. You need to restore coherence to your energy body so the signal can come through clearly. And when it does, everything else falls into place naturally. You don't have to force new thoughts. They arise spontaneously. You don't have to discipline yourself into new behaviors. They flow naturally from your restored coherence. You don't have to manufacture willpower. It's just there because your energy is flowing freely. Now, before we get into how to actually do this, how to restore coherence to your energy body, I need to explain why it collapses in the first place. Because if you don't understand what causes the breakdown, you'll keep creating the same patterns over and over without realizing it. You'll do the work, feel better for a while, and then slide back into dysfunction, wondering what went wrong. So let's talk about the primary causes of energetic collapse. First, chronic stress. When your nervous system is stuck in fight or flight, heaven force dominates. Your body pulls energy up into your head to hyperanalyze threats. This is a survival mechanism. When you're in danger, you need to think fast, assess the situation, make quick decisions. So your system diverts energy away from your lower chakras, away from your body, your emotions, your instincts, and floods your upper chakras with nervous, frantic mental energy. This works fine for short-term threats. The problem is modern life keeps you in chronic low-grade stress almost all the time. You're not running from a predator, but you're worried about money, about work, about relationships, about the future. Your nervous system can't tell the difference between a real threat and an imagined one, so it keeps you in that hypervigilant state. And over time, this collapses your lower chakras. You lose connection to your body. You lose connection to your emotions. You lose connection to your instincts. You become a disembodied head floating through life, disconnected from everything that makes you feel alive. And the cruel irony is, the more disconnected you become, the more anxious you feel. Because anxiety isn't just a mental state. It's what happens when you're cut off from your body's wisdom, from the grounding presence of Earth Force. You're stuck in your head with no anchor, no stability, no sense of being held by something larger than your thoughts. So you spin, and the spinning generates more anxiety, and the anxiety keeps you stuck in heaven force dominance. It's a feedback loop that keeps feeding itself until you consciously interrupt it. Second cause, emotional suppression. When you're taught that emotions are bad, weak, inconvenient, something to control or transcend, you shut down Earth Force. You block the ascending current. Because emotions are the felt experience of Earth Force moving through your system. They're not problems to solve. They're information. They're energy in motion, emotion. And when you suppress them, when you push them down, when you refuse to feel them, you're literally damming up the upward flow of life force through your body. This collapses your heart and throat chakras especially. You can't feel deeply because feeling is dangerous. You can't speak your truth because your truth is rooted in what you feel. And if you're not allowed to feel, you have no truth to speak. So you become numb, defended, going through the motions of life without actually being present for any of it. And you wonder why nothing feels meaningful, why you can't connect with people, why intimacy feels impossible. It's because you've cut yourself off from the very energy that creates connection, meaning, and aliveness. Third cause, disconnection from the body. Modern life is almost entirely mental. You sit in chairs, stare at screens, live in your head. You rarely move in ways that feel good, that connect you to your physical aliveness. You rarely spend time in nature, feet on the earth, breathing real air. You're so busy thinking, planning, analyzing, producing that you forget you even have a body. You treat it like a vehicle to carry your head around, and you only pay attention to it when it breaks down. This creates a heaven-force imbalance. Too much energy in the upper chakras, not enough in the lower. You feel spacey, ungrounded, unable to take action. You have all these ideas, all these plans, but you can't execute them. You can't follow through, because ideas are heaven force, action is earth force. And if earth force isn't flowing, you're just a head full of dreams with no capacity to bring them into form. Fourth cause, unresolved trauma. Trauma isn't just a psychological event, it's an energetic one. When something overwhelming happens and you can't process it, when the experience is too big for your nervous system to integrate, that energy gets stuck in your body. It gets trapped, frozen, usually in the chakra that governs the area of life where the trauma occurred. Survival trauma gets stuck in the root. You feel chronically unsafe, like the world is a dangerous place and you have to be on guard at all times. Relational trauma gets stuck in the heart. You can't trust, can't open, can't let people in, because some part of you is still protecting the wound that never healed. Identity trauma gets stuck in the solar plexus. You don't know who you are. You don't trust your own power, because someone or something shattered your sense of self, and you never fully recovered it. And until that frozen energy is released, until the trauma is processed and integrated, the chakra can't function properly. The circulation is blocked. Heaven and earth can't meet at that junction point. So you develop all these compensatory strategies, all these ways of avoiding the blocked area, but the blockage is still there underneath everything you do. And it's affecting your entire system, even if you're not consciously aware of it. Fifth cause, cultural conditioning. You're taught to ignore your body, suppress your emotions, override your intuition, distrust your instincts. You're taught that the only valid reality is mental, logical, provable. You're taught that feelings are irrational, that the body is just meat, that intuition is superstition. You're taught to look outside yourself for answers, to experts, authorities, systems, institutions, rather than trusting the wisdom that lives inside your own energy body. This is a systematic dismantling of your earth force, and it's not an accident, because when you're disconnected from your energy body, you're easier to control. You look outside yourself for validation, for permission, for solutions. You become dependent on systems that claim to have what you need. You stop trusting yourself. You stop knowing yourself. You become a consumer of other people's truth instead of a generator of your own. And the result of all these causes, stress, suppression, disconnection, trauma, conditioning, is a collapsed energy body. Most people are walking around with 3, maybe 4 chakras barely functioning. The rest dormant or blocked. They're living on a fraction of their consciousness, a fraction of their life force, and they don't even know it. They think the narrowness, the struggle, the disconnection, they think that's just how life is. They think everyone feels this way. They don't realize they're operating on emergency power while the full current of their being is waiting to be accessed. And this is where we come back to Kushi. This is why his work was so threatening. Because he showed people that they're not powerless, that they're not broken, that they don't need someone else to fix them. He showed them the map. He explained how the system works. And he gave them tools to restore their own coherence, to rebalance their own energy body, to reclaim their own power. And that kind of information is dangerous to systems built on keeping you dependent. So they buried it. But the truth doesn't go away just because it's hidden. It's still here, and now you have access to it. Now you understand how your energy body works, why it collapses, and what's at stake when it does. The question now is, what do you do about it? How do you restore coherence? How do you bring heaven and earth back into balance? How do you clear the blockages and get the circulation flowing again? And here's what I need you to understand before we move into the practical work. You can't force this. You can't push your chakras open through sheer willpower. You can't discipline yourself into energetic coherence. Because force is heaven energy. And if your problem is too much heaven force, applying more force just makes it worse. You end up trying to control your way into surrender, which is a contradiction. It doesn't work. What restores coherence isn't force. It's permission. It's allowing. It's removing the interference and trusting your system to self-regulate. Your body knows how to balance itself. Your energy knows how to flow. The intelligence that grew you from a single cell into a fully formed human being is still there, still operating, still trying to restore you to wholeness. But it can't do its job when you're constantly interfering, constantly forcing, constantly trying to make something happen according to your mental timeline and preferences. So the practices I'm about to share with you aren't about doing more. They're about doing less. They're about getting out of your own way. They're about creating the conditions for coherence to arise naturally, and then trusting the process. And that might sound passive, but it's not. It's actually the most active thing you can do, to consciously choose not to interfere with your own healing, not to override your own wisdom, not to abandon yourself in favor of some external authority or system. The simplest, most powerful tool for rebalancing your energy body is your breath, because breath is the bridge between heaven and earth. The inhale draws heaven force down into your body. The exhale releases earth force up and out. When you breathe consciously, you're literally circulating energy between the two forces. You're manually operating the mechanism that usually runs on autopilot. And when that mechanism has been stuck, when the circulation has been blocked, conscious breathing gets it moving again. Here's how to practice. Sit comfortably. You don't need a special cushion or a quiet room or any particular setup. Just sit. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or keep them open with a soft gaze. Place one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. This is important because it brings your awareness into your body, out of your head. You're not thinking about your body, you're feeling it. Now inhale slowly through your nose. Feel your belly expand first, like a balloon filling with air. Then feel your chest rise. This is important. Belly first, then chest. Most people breathe backwards. They pull their belly in and lift their chest, which is a stress breath, a heaven force breath. You're trying to reverse that pattern. So belly expands, then chest rises. And as you inhale, imagine you're drawing energy down from above, through the crown of your head, down your spine, into your belly. You don't have to see it clearly, just have the intention. The intention is enough. Pause for a moment at the bottom of the inhale, not holding your breath in a tense way, just pausing, allowing the energy to settle. Then exhale slowly through your mouth. Feel your belly soften, your chest release. And as you exhale, imagine you're releasing energy upward from your belly, through your chest, through your throat, out the top of your head. Again, you don't need a vivid visualization, just the intention, the sense of movement. Pause for a moment at the bottom of the exhale, empty, still, and then begin again. Inhale, drawing heaven force down. Exhale, releasing earth force up. You're creating a circuit. You're manually moving energy through the system. And as you do this, something starts to happen. The rivers that have been blocked, that have been fighting each other, start to find their natural rhythm again. They remember how to flow. Do this for 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. That's all it takes to start shifting your nervous system out of fight or flight and into rest and restore. To start bringing heaven and earth back into balance. And if you do this every morning before you check your phone, before you jump into the demands of the day, you'll notice something shift within a week. More clarity, more groundedness, a sense that you're inhabiting your body again, instead of just living in your head. You're not trying to achieve anything, you're just breathing. But that breath is restoring the circulation of life force through your system. And that changes everything. Now, once you've been doing the breath practice for a while, once you've started to feel your body again, the next step is to find where energy is stuck, because most people have no idea where their blockages are. They've learned to ignore the signals their body sends. They've numbed out, shut down, disconnected. So you need to rebuild that sensitivity. You need to learn to listen again. Here's how. Lie down or sit comfortably. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths to settle in. And then bring your attention to the base of your spine, your root chakra. Don't try to visualize anything. Don't try to see a spinning wheel or a color or any of that. Just bring your awareness to that physical area, the very base of your spine, and notice, what do you feel? Does this area feel open or closed? Light or heavy? Warm or cold? Alive or numb? Expansive or constricted? There's no right answer. You're just noticing. You're checking in. And whatever you find is okay. If you don't feel anything at all, that's information too. That tells you this area is shut down, disconnected. Then move your attention up to your lower belly, your sacral chakra just below your navel. Same process. What do you feel? What's the quality of energy here? Is there movement or stagnation? Aliveness or numbness? Just notice. Don't judge. Don't try to fix. Just see what's there. Then your solar plexus, just above your navel. Then your heart center, in the middle of your chest. Then your throat. Then the space between your eyebrows. Then the crown of your head. Move slowly up your body, checking in with each chakra, noticing what you feel. And as you do this, you're building a map. You're discovering where you're open and where you're closed, where energy is flowing and where it's stuck. And here's what's important. You're not trying to fix anything during this practice. You're just noticing. Because awareness itself is healing. When you bring gentle, non-judgmental attention to a blocked area, you're already beginning to release the blockage. Not through force, but through presence. Your attention is like sunlight, and where sunlight falls, things start to thaw, to soften, to open. Do this body scan every few days, and over time you'll start to notice patterns. Maybe your root is always tight, always contracted because you're carrying chronic anxiety about safety. Maybe your heart is always heavy, always defended, because you're protecting yourself from being hurt. Maybe your throat is always constricted because you're swallowing your truth. These patterns are valuable information. They show you where you need to focus your healing attention. Now, as you're doing this work, you might notice that you're stuck in heaven force. You're anxious, overthinking, spacey, disconnected from your body. If that's the case, you need to bring in more earth force. You need to ground. And the fastest, most effective way to ground is to connect with the actual earth. Take off your shoes. Stand barefoot on the ground. Grass, dirt, sand, anything natural. If you live in a city and you can't get to natural ground, stand barefoot on any floor. Even that helps. Close your eyes. Feel your feet making contact with the earth. Really feel it. The texture, the temperature, the solidness beneath you. And then imagine roots growing from the soles of your feet down into the ground. Not tiny roots. Thick, strong roots like an ancient tree. They go deep. Through the soil, through the rock, all the way down into the molten core of the earth. With each exhale, feel those roots going deeper, anchoring you, stabilizing you. And with each inhale, imagine energy rising up from the earth through those roots, filling your legs, your pelvis, your belly. You're drawing earth force back into your system. You're reconnecting with the ascending current. Stay here for 5 to 10 minutes. Just stand. Breathe. Allow the earth to hold you. And if you can't get outside, if you can't stand for that long, you can do this sitting in a chair. Imagine roots growing from the base of your spine down through the floor, into the ground below the building, down into the earth. The visualization alone is enough to signal your nervous system to reconnect with earth energy. Your body doesn't know the difference between an imagined sensation and a real one. The electrical impulse is the same. So you're literally rewiring your nervous system through this practice. Do this whenever you feel ungrounded, overwhelmed, stuck in your head. It's the fastest way to bring yourself back into your body. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Eventually, you won't need 5 or 10 minutes. You'll be able to ground in 30 seconds in the middle of a stressful meeting or a difficult conversation, just by bringing your awareness to your feet and imagining those roots going down. Now, if your problem is the opposite, if you're stuck in earth force, overwhelmed by emotion, reactive, unable to think clearly, then you need to bring in more heaven force. You need to rise. And the way you do that is through posture and breath. Sit up straight, not rigid, but aligned. Imagine a string attached to the top of your head, gently pulling you upward. Your spine lengthens, your chest opens, your shoulders relax down and back. And then breathe into your chest. Not your belly, your chest. You're reversing the grounding breath. Instead of expanding your belly and sinking down, you're expanding your chest and lifting up. Inhale and feel your chest rise, like you're filling with light. Hold for a moment, then exhale slowly. You're drawing heaven force down into your system. You're reconnecting with the descending current. You're bringing in structure, order, clarity to balance out the chaos of too much emotion. Do this for 5 minutes, and you'll feel your mind clear. You'll feel yourself lift out of the overwhelm. Not because you're bypassing your emotions, but because you're giving yourself enough structure to contain them. You're creating a container strong enough to hold what you're feeling without being swept away by it. And here's the key insight. Balance isn't static, it's dynamic. Sometimes you need to ground, sometimes you need to rise. The practice isn't about finding some perfect middle point and staying there forever. It's about developing the sensitivity to know what you need in any given moment, and the skill to shift between heaven and earth as needed. It's about becoming fluid, adaptable, responsive. It's about mastering both currents so you can dance with them instead of being controlled by them. Now let's talk about the heart. Because your heart chakra is the central junction point, It's where heaven and earth are meant to be most balanced. And when your heart is closed, nothing else works properly. You can have all the mental clarity and all the emotional vitality you want, but if your heart is shut down, you're still disconnected. You're still alone. You're still unable to experience the depth of connection, the fullness of love that makes life worth living. So here's a practice specifically for opening the heart. And I want you to approach this gently, because if your heart is closed, there's usually a good reason. You were hurt. You were betrayed. You loved and it didn't work out, and some part of you decided it's safer to shut down than to risk feeling that pain again. So you built walls, and those walls are still there, and you can't just demolish them. You have to coax them down gently, brick by brick, with patience and compassion. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes. Place both hands over your heart. Just rest them there. Feel the warmth of your hands against your chest. Feel your heartbeat if you can. This simple gesture, putting your hands on your heart, signals your nervous system that it's safe, that you're here, that you're paying attention. And that attention is what your heart has been waiting for. Now breathe naturally, not trying to control the breath, just letting it flow. And with each inhale, imagine breathing directly into your heart. Not your lungs, your heart. Like there's a doorway in the center of your chest, and you're breathing in through that doorway. With each exhale, imagine your heart softening, expanding, opening like a flower. Just a little. You're not forcing it. You're inviting it. And as you breathe, silently repeat to yourself, it's safe to feel. It's safe to open. It's safe to love. Say it slowly, gently, like you're talking to a frightened child. Because that's what your closed heart is. A frightened part of you that learned it wasn't safe to stay open. And it needs to hear over and over that things are different now. That you're strong enough to feel without collapsing. That you can love without losing yourself. That you can be vulnerable without being destroyed. As you do this practice, you might feel emotion rise. Sadness, grief, longing, joy. Whatever comes up is welcome. Your heart has been holding so much. All the love you couldn't express, all the pain you couldn't process, all the connections you couldn't allow. It's all stored in there, waiting to be released. And this practice gives it permission to move. You're not trying to fix the feelings or make them go away. You're just making space for them, allowing them to flow through you instead of staying trapped inside. Do this for 10 minutes a day and be patient with yourself. Your heart might not open right away. It might take weeks or months of gentle, consistent attention, but it will open. Because openness is your heart's natural state. Defensiveness, closure, numbness, those are learned responses to pain. And what's learned can be unlearned. You're not creating something new. You're removing the barriers to what's always been there. And as your heart opens, you'll notice your relationships start to shift. Not because other people change, but because you're no longer relating from a defended, collapsed heart. You're relating from openness, from presence, from the ability to see and be seen without all the armor in the way. And that changes everything. Because real connection, the kind that nourishes you, that makes you feel alive, is only possible between open hearts. When even one person is defended, connection can't happen. You're just two protected castles shouting across the moat at each other. But when you open, when you drop the walls, suddenly there's the possibility of meeting, of actually touching, of experiencing the depth of intimacy and belonging you've been craving your whole life. Now let's talk about coherence. Because all these practices, the breath, the body scan, the grounding, the heart opening, they're all building toward one thing, creating a coherent field. And your field is everything. It's the invisible electromagnetic bubble that surrounds your body and extends outward into space. It's generated by your heart, by your brain, by the flow of energy through your system, and it's constantly interacting with the quantum field, with other people's fields, with the environment around you. When your field is coherent, when heaven and earth are balanced and circulating freely through your chakras, your field is strong, organized, clear. It broadcasts a specific frequency into the space around you. And the quantum field responds to that frequency by organizing reality in a way that matches it. This is how you magnetize experiences, people, opportunities, not by trying to control reality, but by becoming so coherent, so clear in your frequency, that reality naturally reorganizes itself around you. But when your field is incoherent, when your energy body is collapsed, your field is weak, scattered, fragmented, you're broadcasting multiple conflicting frequencies at once, and the quantum field doesn't know what to do with that. So you get mixed results, or no results. Or you attract chaos because chaos is what you're emanating. Here's a practice for creating coherence. It's more advanced than the others, so make sure you've spent some time with the simpler practices first. You need to be able to feel your body, to ground, to connect with both heaven and earth force, before you can bring them into unified coherence. Sit or lie down. Close your eyes. Place one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. Begin by grounding. Feel your connection to the earth. Let earth force rise up through your body, up your legs, into your pelvis, your belly, your chest. Take your time with this. Really feel the upward current. Then bring awareness to the crown of your head. Feel your connection to something larger than yourself, whatever that means to you. Consciousness, spirit, the universe, the field of infinite possibility. Let heaven force descend through the top of your head, down into your brain, your throat, your chest. Feel the downward current. Now here's the key. Imagine these two currents meeting in your heart. See them as two rivers flowing into each other, one rising, one descending. And in your heart, they merge. They become one unified flow of energy. No longer heaven and earth ascending and descending, yin and yang, just one coherent current, one unified field. Breathe into this. With each inhale, draw both currents toward your heart. With each exhale, radiate that unified energy outward through your whole body. Feel it filling your chest, your arms, your belly, your legs. Feel it extending beyond your body, creating a sphere of coherent energy around you. You're not imagining this, you're doing it. You're consciously organizing your electromagnetic field. Stay with this for as long as feels natural. 5, 10, 15 minutes. There's no rush. You're not trying to achieve a state. You're not performing. You're just allowing heaven and earth to remember how to meet inside you. And as they do, as they merge into coherence, everything shifts. Your nervous system calms. Your hormones balance. Your cells receive clear signals about how to function optimally. Your field organizes itself into a coherent pattern. And that coherence radiates outward, affecting everything and everyone around you. This is the practice that changes your life, not because you're trying to manifest specific things or control outcomes, but because you're restoring yourself to your natural state of coherence. And from that state, everything flows naturally. Clarity, creativity, connection, the ability to take aligned action, the magnetism that draws opportunities and people toward you without effort. It all comes from coherence. And coherence comes from allowing heaven and earth to meet cleanly inside your energy body. Now, once you've started working with these practices, the real shift happens when you bring this awareness into your daily life. Because you can sit and meditate and do energy work all you want, but if you go back into the world and immediately lose your center, If you get pulled back into heaven force dominance or earth force chaos, you're not integrating the work. You're just creating a temporary state that disappears the moment you open your eyes. So throughout your day, pause. Check in with your energy body. Ask yourself, am I stuck in my head right now, or am I in my body? Is heaven force dominating or earth force? Am I grounded or am I floating? Is my heart open or defended? Just notice. You don't need to judge what you find. You just need to see it clearly. And then, if you notice you're out of balance, make a small adjustment. If you're too much in your head, ground. Take off your shoes if you can and feel your feet on the floor. Or just bring your awareness to your feet. Imagine roots going down. Take a few deep belly breaths. 30 seconds. That's all it takes to shift. If you're too much in emotion or reactivity, bring in heaven force. Sit up straight. Breathe into your chest. Focus your mind on something clear and structured. Feel yourself rising out of the overwhelm into clarity. Again, 30 seconds. If your heart feels closed, place your hand over your chest. Breathe. Soften. Remind yourself, it's safe to feel. It's safe to open. Just for this moment. You don't have to stay open forever. Just right now. That's enough. This is how you live from your energy body instead of just your mind. It's not complicated. It's just awareness, checking in, making small adjustments throughout the day to stay in balance. And over time, this becomes automatic. You don't have to think about it anymore. Your system learns to self-regulate, to stay in coherence without constant conscious effort. You've retrained your nervous system, rewired your energy body, restored the natural flow of heaven and earth through your system. And when that happens, life becomes easier. Not because your circumstances change, though they often do, but because you're no longer fighting yourself. You're no longer split between the part that wants to think and the part that wants to feel, the part that wants to plan and the part that wants to flow. Heaven and earth are working together inside you. And from that partnership, from that coherence, everything you create has power. Everything you touch has life. You're not performing. You're not pretending. You're just being yourself, your whole self, and that wholeness is magnetic. People feel it when they're around you. They might not know what it is, but they feel calmer, more centered, more themselves. Because your coherent field is affecting their field. You're not doing anything to them. You're just being coherent. And coherence is contagious. It invites other people back into their own coherence just by proximity. This is the work Kushi was teaching. Not just personal healing, but collective transformation. Because every time you restore coherence to your own energy body, you're affecting the field of everyone around you. You're raising the baseline frequency. You're making it easier for others to find their own balance, their own wholeness. You're contributing to the evolution of consciousness itself, not through preaching or teaching or trying to save anyone, but simply by doing your own work, by becoming coherent yourself. And this is why his work was suppressed. Because if everyone understood this, if everyone knew how to work with their own energy body, how to balance heaven and earth, how to create coherence, the entire structure of control would collapse. You wouldn't need experts to tell you how to live. You wouldn't need systems to give you permission. You wouldn't need products or programs or solutions sold to you by people who profit from your disconnection. You would just know. You would trust yourself. You would be sovereign. And that's terrifying to systems built on dependence. So they buried the information. They made it seem mystical, impractical, unscientific. They separated energy from biology, consciousness from matter, the spiritual body from the physical body. They taught you that you're just a meat machine running on neurons and chemicals, that consciousness is an accident, that there's no deeper organizing intelligence guiding your existence. They made you small, powerless, dependent. But you're not small, you're not powerless. You're a field of consciousness temporarily taking form. You're the meeting point of heaven and earth, the place where infinite potential becomes specific reality. You're the channel through which creative intelligence expresses itself in the world. And when you understand that, when you learn to work with your energy body, when you restore coherence to your system, you remember who you actually are. Not the limited, fearful, struggling self you've been conditioned to believe you are, but the vast, powerful, creative being you've always been. This is the gift Kushi was trying to give people. The map back to themselves. The understanding that you're not broken, you're just out of tune. And tuning yourself isn't complicated. It doesn't require years of study or expensive programs or special initiations. It just requires understanding how the system works and then doing the simple practices that restore balance. Breathing, grounding, opening your heart, bringing heaven and earth into coherence. That's it. That's the work. And if you do the work, if you commit to these practices, if you make them part of your daily life the way you make brushing your teeth part of your daily life, everything changes. Not overnight. Not dramatically. But gradually, steadily, you'll notice you feel different. More present, more alive, more like yourself. The fog lifts, the numbness fades, the anxiety quiets. You start feeling your body again. You start trusting your instincts again. You start experiencing moments of deep peace, of joy, of connection that you forgot were possible. And from that state, from that coherence, you start creating differently. You stop forcing. You stop pushing. You stop trying to make things happen through sheer willpower. You start flowing. You start trusting. You take aligned action because it feels right, not because you're terrified of what will happen if you don't. And reality responds. Doors open. Opportunities appear. Synchronicities multiply. Not because you're manifesting them, but because you're finally broadcasting a coherent signal. And the field is organizing itself around that signal. This is what's possible when you work with your energy body. When you understand that you're not just a physical organism, but an electromagnetic being. When you learn to balance heaven and earth, to clear your chakras, to restore the flow of life force through your system, you become whole. And from wholeness, everything flows. So let's bring this home. Let's land this, because I've given you a lot of information, a lot of concepts, a lot of practices. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're wondering where to start, I want to simplify it for you. Start with the breath. That's it. Just the breath. 5 minutes every morning. Sit down, close your eyes, place one hand on your belly and one on your heart, and breathe. Inhale, drawing heaven force down. Exhale, releasing earth force up. That's the foundation. Everything else builds from there. And as you do that practice, as you start feeling your body again, as the circulation starts to restore itself, you'll naturally know what to do next. Maybe you'll feel called to ground. Maybe you'll feel called to open your heart. Maybe you'll feel called to work with coherence. Trust that. Your energy body knows what it needs. Your job is just to listen, to pay attention, to stop overriding your own wisdom with external authority. You've been taught to distrust yourself, to look outside yourself for answers, to believe that someone else knows better than you do what you need. But no one knows your energy body like you do. No one can feel your blocks, your patterns, your rhythms, the way you can. You are the expert on yourself. And the work I'm sharing with you isn't about following my instructions perfectly. It's about using these tools to reconnect with your own inner knowing, so you can guide yourself back to wholeness. Because that's what this is really about. not fixing what's broken, not becoming someone you're not, but remembering who you've always been underneath all the conditioning, all the trauma, all the disconnection. You are a spiritual being having a physical experience. You are consciousness taking form. You are the meeting point of heaven and earth. And when you remember that, when you feel that, when you live from that, everything changes. I want to leave you with something to carry with you, a mantra. Something you can repeat to yourself when you feel lost, when you feel stuck, when you forget what's possible. Say it with me now. I am not broken. I am not stuck. I am simply out of tune. And tuning my energy body is not something I force. It's something I allow. I clear the blockages. I restore the flow. I let heaven and earth meet inside me, and when they do, I become whole again. Say it. Feel it. Let it land in your body, not just your mind. This is the truth. You are not broken. You never were. You're just out of alignment. And alignment isn't something you achieve through effort. It's something you allow through presence, through awareness, through the simple practices that restore your natural coherence. If this video resonated with you, if something shifted, if you felt something open, I want to hear from you. Leave a comment below and tell me which chakra you feel is most blocked right now. Root, heart, throat, crown. Just name it. Because naming it is the first step toward clearing it. When you put words to what you're experiencing, you're bringing consciousness to the unconscious. You're shining light into the dark corners. And that light is what begins the healing. And if you want more content like this, real grounded teachings on energy, on consciousness, on how to work with the invisible architecture of your being, subscribe, hit the bell, because this is just the beginning. There's so much more to explore, so many layers to this work. And I'm here to walk you through it, step by step, practice by practice, until you remember the full scope of what you are and what you're capable of. You're not here by accident. You didn't stumble onto this video randomly. Some part of you, the part that knows, the part that remembers, guided you here because you're ready. Ready to stop living from a collapsed energy body. Ready to restore coherence. Ready to remember who you actually are beneath all the conditioning and disconnection. And I'm honored to be part of that journey with you. So go do the work. Not because I told you to, but because you finally understand why it matters. Because you finally see that the struggle, the stuckness, the disconnection, it's not who you are. It's just what happens when heaven and earth stop meeting cleanly inside you. And now you know how to bring them back together. You have the map, you have the practices, you have everything you need. All that's left is to begin. To sit down, close your eyes, place your hands on your body and breathe. To feel the two rivers moving through you. To invite them to meet. To remember that you are the delta, the fertile ground where heaven and earth create life. And from that remembering, everything becomes possible. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay coherent, stay grounded, stay open, and trust the process. Your energy body knows the way home. You just have to listen.